Hi, everyone. If you live in Canada, today's topic might be a rude shock. You might be in for a big surprise. So today we're going to talk about something that is very commonly accepted as norm or recommended or a good thing. But then today we're going to bust the myth. Okay, so today's topic, stay tuned. My name is Rose Joshua. Welcome to Family and Finance. So today we're in part 9 of our 12-part systemic poverty series. And today's topic, surprise, is about this common practice of putting down 20% down payment on your home. And we're saying that is a no, no, no. Unless you absolutely have no choice, 20% down payment is very, very bad for you. Are you ready? Let's go. So I'm going to share my screen and let's get to it. So today's topic is never put down 20% unless you have absolutely no choice. Okay. Now, what is this 20% thing? I don't know what's happening in other countries, but in Canada, is a myth and is a systemic myth that has been put together by lenders. Okay, so lenders have this propaganda that if you put down 20% for your down payment, it's a good thing. So they have us hypnotized, they have us programmed to think that 20% down payment is the way to go. However, my viewers, I always challenge you guys, do the math. Mathematically speaking, 20% down payment is actually not good for you. It's mathematically incorrect as a way of saving yourself cost. It is more expensive in the long run if you do 20% down. So what really drives the myth is the fear of this default insurance, which we popularly, AKA, also known as CMHC fees. But it's not only CMHC, as we will see, but it is a default, mortgage default insurance. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at alternatives with respect to compound interest, time value of money, and how it really benefits the user to not fall into the trap. So mortgage default insurance is a very interesting thing. It's kind of weird because we are protecting the lenders from mortgage default, but we pay for it. So it's a weird situation where the lender is the one who is being protected. The lender should, under normal circumstances, be the one paying, but somehow they managed to make the buyers pay for it. So government, lenders, the banks and these companies, they're not in business for you, they're in business for themselves. So anyway, there's 3 companies so far in Canada that do default insurance. The most popular one is CMHC, Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. Then you have, it used to be called Genworth, now it's called Sagen, and now there's Canada Guarantee. If you talk to your mortgage broker, they will give you more details, but I have put the links in here for you. You can actually just, copy or find it, Google it, okay? Now, in terms of the mortgage, of the premium, the mortgage default insurance premiums, I'm stuttering here. Depending on your down payment, there's premium percentages. So if you deposit up to 5%, your premium is 4% of the original amount. That's after your down payment. We're going to do the math in a bit. Up between 5% and 10% is 3.1%. Between 10 to 15 is 2.8%. Between 15 to 20 is 2.4. Between 20 to 25 is 1.7, and so on. Now, what happens is with the mortgage default insurance, the lenders actually waive your premium from 20% up. Okay, they waive it. So mathematically, it's 2.4. And if you look at the website for CMHC, which I'm opening right now, is actually mortgage loan insurance and premiums is actually 2.4 up to and including 80% and so on. So I kind of reverse the table starting from 5% downward. Now, so the premium is waived for 20% and above. And there's a reason for that, okay? So here's the psychological programming that we have been hypnotized with. So we're told, you know what, if you put down 5%, you get the maximum 4% fee. And so everybody is clamoring to avoid that the 4% CMHC or default insurance fee. And then they tell you if you put 20% down or more, the lender absorbs the default insurance fee. So the homeowner pays nothing. So it's waived for you. So people think that because they save on the default insurance, 20% down is the way to go. But, and then they tell you, oh, it lowers your mortgage, which, you know what, to be honest, in the short run, it does lower your mortgage payment, but really at what cost? So you need to look at the numbers in their entirety. Don't look at a narrow window. You need to look at the whole house. All right? So then when you're sitting with the lenders, they tell you where you can save on CMHC fees. If you put down 20%, your mortgage is lower, your monthly payment is lower, operational costs are lower, everything is easier, is more comfortable. So they're appealing to everybody's aversion from pain. They tell you, oh, it's more comfortable, it's easier. So all of that is true, except it's not complete. So you know when you go to court and you say, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay. So here they're telling us some truth, but it's not the whole truth. So the truth is not complete, okay? So yes, it is easier to pay your fees, you don't get the fees, your payment is lower, but the flip side of the coin, nobody's talking to you about. So today we're going to talk about the flip side, all right? So we fall for all of this programming because we're not asking questions. We're not doing the math, okay? So again, I encourage you to do the math, ask questions. It's your money. You work so hard for it. Don't just give it away, right? So here's the mindset that the lenders appeal to. Most people don't want the temporary pain of, okay, paying a little bit more for long-term gain, all right? Most people think in the short term, narrow-minded windows, okay? And most people don't do the math. So, of course, lenders, they capitalize on all of that and say, you need to do 20%. So people go, they do 10%, they go save money, they spend more time, they sweat, take some more shifts and put that 20% together or the 10% together just to avoid some of these fees. But again, it's more costly in the end. So what's the other side of the coin? Ask yourself, what is in it for the lender? So you gotta think something. You've got to understand that when you go to the bank, and they say bring money because it's good for you, you've got to understand that there's a reason behind it. Because the banks and the lenders are not in business for you. They're in business for themselves. So when they're asking you to bring your hard-earned cash up front, you've got to ask yourself, why? Why are they asking me to surrender my money up front? And what would be my loss if I did that? Ask yourself questions. So what is in it for the lender? Why is the lender so eager? Why are they so eager to waive your 2.4 CMHC fee so that you pay nothing? Okay. And, you know, when I look at it, it smells fishy. So it is a fishy thing. So let's do a deep dive and let's take a look at mortgage down payment options and opportunity costs. Pay attention. So I need everyone to sit with me pull up your favorite mortgage calculator and let's do some math. Bring up your calculator, go to the Google, pull up a mortgage payment calculator with biweekly, and then let's do some math, okay? So let's assume that we have a $400,000 home and the interest rate is 6%, amortized over 25 years. In part 8, last video, I showed you some of the numbers and we did say you're paying biweekly. All right, so let's stop and look at your 5% down payment scenario. So for 5% on a $400,000 home, you're putting down $20K, easy. From that 400,000 minus the 20K, you have remaining 380,000, okay? The CMHC or the default insurance premium on a 5% deposit is 4%. So you want to do 4% on top of the 380K. And that comes to 15,200. Okay. So your total mortgage is the 380 plus the default insurance. So it's 395,200. All right. With your mortgage calculator, whichever one you use, biweekly payment is $1,273.14, okay? So over the amortization period, your interest paid on this particular mortgage is $298K. And so your overall cost on the house is $713,541. All right. So put a note on that, write it down, put it in your notebook, write it down before we go to the next slide. So on the next slide, we go to the 10% scenarios. I'm doing 10% and then 20%. So on a 10% scenario, on a $400,000 mortgage, you're putting down $40K. So the balance before the sale price is $360K. And the default insurance on 10% is 3.1%. So that's $11,160. So your total mortgage on a 10%, in a 10% scenario is $371,160. Your biweekly payment is $1,195.69. So you're paying $77 less than the person who put down 5%. Okay, so it is lower payment already. Your total interest is $280K and your overall cost is a $40K plus a mortgage plus the interest. So that's $691. So the $691,000, when you compare that, I go back one step. When you compare that to $713,000, you're lower by $22,188 if you put down 10%. But I want you to pause here. Let's pause. So in order to lower your CMHC, you put down 10%. So you put down $20,000 more. Okay. And in the long run, after all the amortization, after all those years of payments, you're lower than the 5% person by $22,188. So technically, you got back your $20,000 extra. So your your $20K only did extra work of $2,188. I hope you're getting my math. I hope I'm not just blabbing. So your $20K only saved you $2,188, technically, all right? But we're going to do a deeper dive in a bit. Now, let's look at the opportunity cost. This is the flip side of the coin that the lenders don't tell you. So your $20,000, if you separated your $20K extra in a 10% scenario from your $5K, so just put down $5,000, but you have $40,000 in your hand, instead of giving the whole $40K to your lender, you take out the $20K, invest it at the same rate as your mortgage, same rate, okay? And over the 25 years, you gain $65,000. So your net loss, okay, your opportunity cost for giving away your 20K to the lender is that you lost $43,649. So by doing a 10% down payment, you lost money because the opportunity cost is you're investing your 20K in a separate bucket, so diversifying your portfolio and not giving your money to the lenders. So lenders like your money upfront because they invest your money and they make profits, right? So why wouldn't you invest it yourself? So here's what I'm saying. If you had given to me the $20,000 and then I save it for you and I work on it and grow it, you would have gained $43,649 more. But no, we didn't do that, but we gave the money to the lender. So in summary, for 10%, your net loss is $43,600 if you invest at the same rate. If you invest in a good market and let's say your portfolio did better at say 8% average for the 25 years, you're looking at $94,781 that you lost. I hope that sinks in, okay? Now let's look at the almighty 20%. Almighty 20% down. So 20% down, you have $80,000 in your hand. Okay, and you qualify for 5%, but you decide, because I don't want to pay the CMHC fee, I'm going to put down my 80%, $80,000, all of it. So in order to sacrifice, in order to avoid $11,500, which is the CMHC fee in a 5% scenario, you put down $60,000 extra. That's the 20,000. That's the 20% trap. It's a big trap, my dear. Big trap. Okay. So your down payment is $80K. Your balance is $320. Your mortgage is on the $320. That's okay. Your biweekly payment is lower. Yes. So a lot of people say, well, my payments are lower. I'm $500 lower. Yes, you're $500 lower. At what cost? Okay. So total cost of the mortgage is $641,571. So basically, you're lower than the 5% by almost $72,000. In a very microscopic angle, your $60,000 extra got itself back and only generated another $12,000. So literally, to be honest with you, if you go back, this is so funny, but it's not funny because it's painfully funny. If you go back to the 5% scenario, the default insurance was $15,200. You avoided it by putting down your 20%. But literally, you actually only gained $12,000. So you ended up paying more than what you were trying to avoid. Okay. I'm laughing too much. I should stop. All right, this is serious. This is a serious matter, so I should stop laughing. But it is funny because it's painful. And how the system actually got us thinking, hypnotized into this programming is amazing. That just tells us that lenders are very, very smart and they know how to hoodwink the population. But anyway, so let's look at your opportunity cost, 20% down. So you put down an extra $60,000. So bring out your compound interest calculator. If you had invested your $60K at the same price, same interest rate as your mortgage, you would have gained $197,000. So by surrendering your $60K upfront, you lost $125,542 at 6%. If you did better at, say, 8%, then you would have lost $278,000, almost $280,000. Guys, we lose big money by giving our money to the lender in the name of avoiding CMHC. It is a propaganda. It is a systemic trap. And you are shocked. You and I will be shocked how many people fall into it. Big loss, 278, 279, almost 280K lost just because we surrendered our money up front. It's a time value of money, guys. Time value of money. All right. So bringing it all together, side by side in one table. I've summarized it all here so you can take a look, pause the video, take a look at the numbers side by side. In a 5% scenario, you're paying more, yes. But your opportunity cost in the 10% and 20% scenario is you end up losing big time. All right. So people literally lose big money around this propaganda of the CMHC default insurance. And the only person laughing here is really the lender. The rest of us are not so happy, you know, so it is. So this is how the lenders keep getting richer and the people keep getting poorer. So that's systemic for you. All right, so here's the bottom line. If you qualify with 5% down and you have the home that you need and 5% is okay, don't give away your 20%. Don't give away your 10%. Invest the difference. You have money in your hand. Don't give your money upfront to the lender. Diversify your portfolio. Put 5% down on the house. The remaining 15% or the remaining 5%, invest it and increase your net worth that way. So if you have extra cash, let's say you're trying to buy a house now and you have 20%, come to me. Let's talk so that we can actually help you save your money into your retirement plan or some other goals that you have and increase your net worth. Connect with me. You work so hard for your money, so let's not give it away. So come to me if you have all that money and we don't want you to give it all to the lender. So that is the end of part 9. I hope it's been helpful. If you know anyone who will benefit from it, please, by all means, share the video with them, have them subscribe and share and like. And if you have any questions around on your mortgage, on your down payment, on anything around money, connect with me, Rose Joshua, 780-680-1334, and let's have a chat. Thank you so much. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. God bless. Bye-bye.